In a world where power hides behind smiles, where manipulation wears a mask of virtue, how would Niccolò Machiavelli, the master of strategy, survive? Or rather, dominate? Today, we uncover the 21 rules he would use to outsmart everyone from politicians to influencers, CEO to ordinary people, like you and me, because the truth is the game of power never ended. It just changed its stage. Imagine this. The streets are filled with noise, but no one listens. People speak louder than ever, yet say nothing of value. Empires have been replaced by corporations, and kings by algorithms. The crown has been traded for the glow of a screen. And there in the midst of this new chaos, Niccolò Machiavelli returns, not as a ghost from the past, but as an observer of this modern empire built on illusion. He walks through crowded cities, watches people scroll endlessly through their own distractions, and smiles, because he understands what most do not. The nature of power has not changed, only its disguise has. If Machiavelli stood among us today, he would see rulers not on thrones, but in boardrooms, on social media, in governments built on optics and perception. He would see a new form of warfare, not with swords or shields, but with information and influence. Power is now invisible, yet omnipresent. It lives in data, in headlines, in the hearts and fears of the masses. The new prince does not conquer lands, he conquers attention. And Machiavelli would whisper, "The battlefield has changed, but the rules remain the same." He would watch the politicians who smile in public yet conspire in private and nod approvingly. He would see influencers who preach virtue while selling deception, and he would say, "They have mastered what I once taught." Appear to be moral, but act with strategy. The modern world rewards not the honest, but the cunning. Those who know how to seem good without being naive. Those who can shape perception without revealing their intent. He would walk among the people and see their confusion, their anger at systems they cannot name, their loyalty to leaders who betray them, their obsession with image over essence. And he would understand it perfectly, because Machiavelli always knew that humans crave appearance more than truth, that they prefer comfort over clarity, and in this weakness lies the opportunity for power. To control the story is to control the people. To craft the illusion is to become the master of reality itself. In a world of endless noise, silence becomes power. In a world obsessed with kindness, calculated coldness becomes strength. Machiavelli would not fight this world, he would adapt to it, infiltrate it, and rule it. He would study algorithms as once he studied armies. He would treat reputation as his fortress, perception as his weapon, and timing as his most loyal ally. And as he observes this digital kingdom, this empire of likes, trends, and artificial virtue, he would smile again. Because the principles he wrote 5 centuries ago still command obedience, even from those who have never read his name. Every leader, every strategist, every manipulator walks unknowingly in his shadow. Every deal, every campaign, every social movement carries the echo of his mind. Yes, Machiavelli would see through the illusions of modern morality and remind us of his oldest truth, that those who appear pure are often the most dangerous, and those who appear dangerous often understand purity best. He would look at this modern age and recognize it as the ultimate version of his own playground, a world where perception rules, where truth bends to those who command it, and where power rewards only the one who dares to think beyond the limits of virtue. And if you listened closely, you would hear his voice beneath the hum of machines, the chatter of crowds, the scrolling of screens whispering the same words he once wrote to princes and rulers long ago. Appearances rule the world, and the wise learn not to resist illusion, but to master it. Machiavelli stands at the center of a modern city, glass towers glimmering like temples of ambition, people walking fast yet going nowhere. He watches them through calculating eyes, each face illuminated by a small screen, each thought borrowed, each desire manufactured. And he realizes something profound, that the new rulers have perfected the art of control without chains. They no longer command through fear of punishment, but through the illusion of freedom. The people believe they are choosing what to buy, what to love, what to think, but in truth, they are being guided. Machiavelli always said that the greatest rulers are not those who conquer by force, but those who make their subjects willing slaves. In the digital age, he would find their masterpiece. He would see how attention has become the new gold, how emotions are harvested like crops, and how outrage has become the most profitable form of obedience. Every scroll, every click, every reaction a silent oath of loyalty to unseen powers. He would not be surprised. He would call it ingenious. In the Renaissance, rulers used religion and law to shape belief. Today, they use algorithms and advertising. Both serve the same purpose: to dictate what is considered true, what is acceptable, what is moral. The modern citizen believes he is informed, yet he only knows what is fed to him. He believes he has a voice, yet his voice is drowned in the noise of millions shouting at nothing. Machiavelli would observe this and whisper that no tyranny is greater than the one disguised as choice. He would walk past the faces addicted to validation, those who measure their worth in hearts and views, and he would understand vanity has become the new chain. He once advised princes to flatter the vanity of others to win their loyalty. Now, vanity rules entire nations. The need to be seen, to be liked, to be accepted, that is how modern power operates. It seduces rather than commands. It controls not the body, but the identity. And he would laugh quietly, seeing how even rebellion has been commodified. People believe they are defying the system by sharing slogans crafted by the system itself. Anger, outrage, and virtue, all tools, all predictable, all profitable. The rulers no longer need soldiers. They have algorithms that fight for them. They no longer silence opposition. They drown it in distraction. Machiavelli would see this and admire its precision, for he once wrote that a wise ruler must learn to make his people dependent on him, so they cannot rebel without destroying themselves. Today, dependence is built not on fear, but on pleasure. The people are kept busy chasing approval, status, and comfort, unaware that the very things they seek have made them docile. They think they are living in the age of enlightenment, yet they are blinded by the glow of their own screens. He would explain that control has become invisible because it no longer needs force. The chains are psychological, woven through habit, fear of irrelevance, and the craving for acceptance. True power today does not need to declare itself. It hides in plain sight, in the codes of technology, in the policies we never read, in the news we assume is truth. Machiavelli would not condemn it. He would master it. He would use it to manipulate without suspicion, to influence without appearing to do so. And as he observes this world of subtle control, he would smirk, realizing that his old lessons have evolved beyond even his imagination. The prince of the past ruled by sword and decree. The prince of today rules by data and desire. And those who do not understand how this invisible power works are destined to remain pawns in a game they do not even know they are playing. Machiavelli sits in silence, surrounded by those who call themselves good. They speak of morality, of kindness, of doing what is right. They wear masks of virtue while secretly nursing ambition. He observes, patient and still, for he knows the truth they dare not face, that morality without strategy is weakness. In every age, the powerful have always understood this. They speak softly of compassion in public, yet act with precision in private. They appear gentle, but beneath the surface lies the art of necessary cruelty. He would remind us that cruelty, when used with wisdom, is not evil. It is control. It is discipline. It is the fire that burns corruption before it spreads. The problem, he would say, is not cruelty itself, but its misuse. Those who act with uncontrolled emotion destroy themselves, but those who act with reasoned cruelty build empires that endure. The lion does not apologize for killing the deer, nor does the ruler apologize for removing threats. Both understand survival requires decisive action. In the modern world, cruelty no longer takes the form of execution or exile. It lives in decisions, cold, calculated choices that separate the powerful from the powerless. The CEO who cuts thousands of jobs to save a company's future. The politician who sacrifices popularity for control. The strategist who ends alliances to gain dominance. Machiavelli would see these actions not as cruelty, but as necessity acts of calculated preservation. He would whisper, "It is better to wound once and be feared, than to wound 1,000 times and be despised." He would laugh at the hypocrisy of the modern age, where people condemn power yet secretly crave it. They denounce manipulation while practicing it in their daily lives. They speak of peace while competing for dominance in every arena from politics to social media. Machiavelli would see through their illusions. He would teach that the truly powerful are those who can do what others cannot, those willing to bear the weight of difficult decisions without seeking moral approval. He would say that morality is a mask worn by the weak to defend their failures. The strong do not speak of good or evil, they speak of results. If kindness serves your ambition, use it. If deception protects your empire, employ it. The wise ruler does not worship virtue. He uses it as a tool, bending it to his will. For in the world of power, purity is not a virtue, it is a liability. He would explain that fear and respect are siblings, and often, fear is the only one that stays loyal. The mistake of many leaders today, he would say, is their obsession with being loved. Love fades, it shifts, it betrays. But fear, once earned, endures. It keeps order where affection breeds rebellion. Machiavelli would not encourage cruelty for pleasure, but for purpose, a cruelty that restores balance, eliminates threats, and maintains control. And if he saw today's leaders apologizing for their strength, surrendering their authority to please the crowd, he would shake his head. He would remind them that no ruler ever kept his throne by being liked. Power is not a popularity contest, it is survival. It is the ability to act decisively when others hesitate, to strike when others doubt, to do what must be done, even when it breaks the illusions of morality. Machiavelli would stand before this world of fragile egos and soft ideals, and he would say that the art of power is not about cruelty for cruelty's sake, but the discipline to use it when necessary. For the one who hesitates to make hard choices will eventually be destroyed by those who do not hesitate at all. Machiavelli stands before the modern world, a world not of kingdoms, but networks, not ruled by crowns, but by influence. He sees millions chasing relevance, desperate to be seen, yet few truly understand how to command it. And he would say, this is the greatest opportunity in history. For never before has power been so available, yet so misunderstood. The modern prince is not born into royalty, he builds it through perception, mastery, and relentless intent. He would look at the digital age and understand immediately influence is the new throne. The one who controls attention controls reality, but he would warn that attention without authority is fleeting. The true game is not to be seen, but to be obeyed. The modern prince learns not to chase the crowd, but to make the crowd follow. He would teach that reputation is the new armor. Every word, every image, every act must serve a purpose. To move without purpose is to die unseen. Machiavelli would study the influencers, the CEO, the politicians, and he would divide them into two types, those who crave power and those who understand it. The first group burns brightly, then fades. The second learns to control their image with surgical precision. They speak less, but their words echo farther. They reveal little but achieve much. He would say the modern prince must become a master of duality, humble in appearance, unstoppable in intent. He would teach that in this age of exposure, concealment is power. The more people know of your plans, the more they can destroy them. Mystery breeds respect. Predictability breeds vulnerability. He would whisper that a modern ruler must learn to be both present and distant, visible enough to inspire loyalty, but hidden enough to maintain control. In a time when everyone shouts, power belongs to the one who can make silence speak. Machiavelli would redefine strategy for this era. He would say the battlefield is now digital, but the principles remain eternal. Know your enemies even when they smile. Study their patterns, learn their weaknesses, and strike only when the outcome is certain. He would encourage alliances, but never dependence. Partnerships should serve your vision, not replace it. The modern prince builds networks not out of friendship, but function each connection, a step toward greater influence. He would understand the language of this time, likes, shares, followers, and use it as a ruler once used armies. But he would never mistake visibility for victory. He would remind us that true power operates beneath the surface. The strongest hand is the one that moves unseen. The greatest victories are not celebrated, they are secured in silence. And to those who believe the world has changed too much for his philosophy, he would simply smile. He would say, technology has changed tools, not instincts. Human nature remains the same, driven by desire, ruled by fear, tamed by illusion. Those who master this nature rise above it. Those who ignore it become slaves to it. Machiavelli would look at you, the viewer, the dreamer, the strategist, and say that every person today holds the potential to become a modern prince. Not by birth, but by discipline. Not through charm, but through control. The age of empires has ended, but the age of influence has just begun. Power no longer belongs to those who inherit it, but to those who understand it, shape it, and wield it with precision. The new prince is not crowned, he is created, molded through awareness, forged through strategy, and sustained through silence. Machiavelli stands at the edge of time, gazing upon the world he once dreamed of, not of swords and thrones, but of influence and control. He sees that humanity has changed its tools, yet not its instincts. The hunger for power still burns in every heart. The desire to dominate still shapes every choice. And he smiles, because the principles he wrote centuries ago still move the world like invisible hands. He would tell us that power was never about cruelty or deception alone, it was always about understanding. Understanding how people think, what they fear, what they crave, and how easily they surrender to illusion. He would remind us that morality, politics, love, and loyalty are all pieces on the same board. To win, one must not reject them, but learn how to move them. The 21 rules of power are not commandments, they are tools. Each rule a reflection of human truth. To command respect, you must first master yourself. To control others, you must first understand what controls them. To rise, you must be willing to see the world as it truly is, not as it pretends to be. The wise never play by the rules of others, they rewrite them. Machiavelli would say that in every era, there are two kinds of people, the ruled and the rulers. The ruled follow ideals, the rulers shape them. The ruled chase validation, the rulers create demand, the ruled react. The rulers calculate, and the choice between the two is made not by birth or circumstance, but by awareness. He would remind us that fear and love, deception and loyalty, truth and illusion, these are not opposites, but instruments. The one who can play them all becomes untouchable. Power, he would whisper, does not belong to the loudest, but to the most disciplined. It belongs to those who act with patience, who understand timing, and who never reveal their full strength until the moment of conquest. As the world rushes forward, drowning in distraction and false virtue, Machiavelli's voice cuts through the noise, calm, deliberate, eternal. You cannot escape the game of power, he would say. You can only choose whether to play it blindly or to master it. And as his shadow fades into the modern light, his words linger, a challenge, a warning, and a promise. The game continues, the faces change, the rules remain. Power rewards only those who dare to see the world not as it wishes to be, but as it truly is.